My underwear was already around my knees when I realized I couldn't stop him. I wasn't drunk. I wasn't high. And I wasn't even scared. I just stood there, heart racing, lips slightly open, skin burning as Calvin, my best friend's dad, knelt behind me and whispered, "Let me take care of you." He was twice my age, married once, widowed now. I'd known him since I was a teenager. Back then he'd grill burgers for us during sleepovers and order pizza whenever we complained about school drama. But that night in his office, with the door locked and the air heavy with his cologne, he didn't treat me like his daughter's best friend. He touched me like I belonged to him. And when his tongue grazed the inside of my thigh, I knew I'd crossed a line I could never uncross. But I never imagined it would become the favor that would change my life and tear my soul apart. Before I dive deeper into this messy tale, I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to this channel. Your support means the world to me. And to those new or returning viewers who haven't hit that subscribe button yet, what are you waiting for? That one click fuels this space and keeps these stories coming. Your likes, shares, and comments mean so much. So don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's build this community together. Now back to how I ended up half-dressed in the house of a man I never thought I'd betray my best friend with. My name is Kimberly, and I was 23 when this happened. I had just dropped out of nursing school because I couldn't afford the tuition anymore, and the constant pressure to look like I had everything under control was crushing me. I worked double shifts at a rundown diner off Highway 280 in Birmingham, Alabama. On nights I wasn't scrubbing grease off tables, I crashed at my best friend Terry's place. Terry was everything I wasn't: confident, bold, wealthy. Her dad Calvin owned 3 car dealerships and a lakeside cabin we used to sneak off to in high school. Calvin was the kind of man who wore suits like armor, a smooth talker with silver hair and dark eyes that seemed to see right through you. He was quiet but always watching. After Terry's mom passed away from cancer, Calvin changed. He became softer, almost fragile but not weak. There was something about him that drew people in, even when he stayed silent. I remember the first time he offered to help me. I was sitting on the back porch, crying over an eviction notice. Terry was inside, blasting music through her headphones. Calvin came out with a beer, saw my face, and sat down next to me. "You're drowning, Kimberly," he said. "Let me throw you a rope." Later he helped me land a better job at the front desk in his office. That was the beginning of the favors. But favors from men like Calvin always come with strings attached. One evening after hours, I was in his office going over some paperwork when I dropped my pen. As I bent down to pick it up, I felt him behind me, his breath brushing against the back of my neck. "You're beautiful, Kimberly," he murmured. I froze. It was the first time he'd said something like that. When I glanced over my shoulder, his hand was already on my waist. I should have said something. I should have moved. Instead, I leaned back. I let it happen. I let him take off my clothes and touch me in ways I hadn't let anyone near in years. And I let myself enjoy it. So damn good. That night, as he kissed the inside of my thighs and pulled every ounce of shame from my body, I felt something shift between us. But I also sensed something darker looming. A danger I couldn't quite put into words. Something that made me wonder if I ever truly had control. I wish I could say that was the only time it happened. That one reckless night ended quietly in shame, and I walked away untouched. But the truth is, I kept running back to him. Again and again and again. The next morning, Calvin texted me, "Come by the lake house." Just, no questions, no apologies, just a command. And I followed it like I was under a spell. The keys were waiting for me at the side door. Inside there was a room with crisp white sheets. A robe that fit perfectly. When he touched me again, this time in daylight, it felt even more dangerous. What started as one stolen night turned into weekend getaways. He sent me money, paid off my student loans, bought me clothes, shoes, perfume. He gave me a lifestyle I couldn't afford, and in return I gave him every part of my body. Terry had no idea. She thought her dad was simply helping me get back on my feet. She even joked about how I was like a second daughter to him. If only she knew her dad had memorized the taste of my skin. At first the secrecy thrilled me. The risk, the lies, the guilt, I wore them all like perfume. Calvin told me I was special, that I brought him back to life after losing his wife. That I made him feel like a man, not just a grieving father. I wanted to believe him, but slowly he began to change. He grew jealous, controlling. He wanted to know who I was texting, where I was going. He didn't like me spending time with Terry anymore. "Keep your distance," he said one night while stroking my hair in bed. "She asks too many questions." "You're acting weird, Kim," she said. "Are you seeing someone?" I lied. I told her I was focused on school and work, that I was tired, that I didn't have time for guys. She laughed and hugged me. "You better not be sleeping with my dad or something," she joked. My heart nearly stopped. She had no idea, but the guilt hit me like a punch to the gut. That night, I told Calvin we needed to slow things down. He stared at me coldly. "After everything I've done for you, after all I've given you," his voice was low, carrying a threat wrapped in silk. He pulled a diamond bracelet from his pocket and slid it onto my wrist. "You don't walk away from me, Kimberly." And I didn't. Even when my soul screamed at me to run. Then came the night everything nearly unraveled. Terry invited me over for dinner, just the three of us. Calvin told me not to go, but I knew avoiding her would make her suspicious. I walked in nervously, lips trembling, and there he was, sitting at the head of the table, acting like I was just another guest. But under the table, his foot slid up my leg. He stared at me while pouring wine into Terry's glass, rubbing his toes against the inside of my thigh. I nearly dropped my fork. Terry was talking about some guy she met at work, laughing, oblivious to how I was shaking. Then she said it. "Dad, you remember that night Kimberly came over to help you with paperwork? She told me you two worked really late. What were you working on again?" Then he looked at me, his eyes dark, his jaw tight, daring me to speak. I nodded and forced a smile, but I could feel my lies cracking. One more question, one slip of the tongue, one wrong glance, and everything would explode. It all fell apart 2 weeks later. I had just finished showering at Calvin's place. My skin still smelled like him. The bracelet sparkled on my wrist. As I dried my hair in his bathroom mirror, I should have felt powerful, desired, wanted, but all I felt was empty. Calvin was in the next room, half-dressed, checking emails like we were a normal couple, like this twisted reality existed outside these walls. I was about to tell him I couldn't keep doing this when my phone buzzed. It was a text from Terry. "We need to talk." I stared at the screen, my hands trembling. Before I could reply, she called. "Kimberly," she said, her voice shaky. I went through my dad's phone. I saw the messages, the hotel receipts, the pictures. "You were in his bed, Kim. You were in my father's bed." My mouth opened, but no words came out. There was no excuse, no lie, no clever twist, just the ugly, raw truth exposed. "You betrayed me," she whispered. "You were my best friend, my sister. And you were sleeping with my dad behind my back." Then she hung up. That was the last time Terry spoke to me. She blocked my number and posted a cryptic tweet that set our mutual friends ablaze. Whispers turned into screenshots, secrets into judgment. I lost friends, jobs, and the only person who ever felt like home. And Calvin, he changed too. Once Terry found out, he distanced himself like a politician avoiding a scandal. He said we needed space, that he had to protect his image, that I should lay low. The money stopped, the gifts disappeared. No more invites, no more lake house, no more soft promises in the dark, just silence. He used me, and I let him, not because I was weak, but because I was starving for comfort, validation, love I never received in the right places. I mistook attention for care, lust for affection. By the time I saw the difference, it was too late. I hit rock bottom a month later, back at the diner, scraping tips. No degree, no best friend, no man, just shame. But something shifted in me. I turned that shame into fuel. I went back to school, paying every cent myself. I found therapy. I found healing. I started telling my story, not as a victim, but as a woman who learned the hardest way that some favors cost far more than they seem. I don't blame Calvin, not entirely. He was who he was. But I blame myself for staying when I should have left, for staying silent when I should have spoken up, for betraying a sisterhood, for the touch of a man who never saw me as anything more than a way to escape his own grief. Here's what I learned. If someone offers to save you in secret, make sure it's not your soul they're stealing. If someone gives you everything but demands your silence, ask yourself what you're really giving up. And never ever betray the one person who would have fought for you through anything. Because the price of lust is nothing compared to the cost of losing yourself. Thank you for watching. Now it's your turn. Tell me what you think. Drop a comment. Share your thoughts. Do you think I was wrong from the start? Do you think Calvin knew exactly what he was doing? Let's talk in the comments. Don't forget to like, share and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Your support keeps this channel going, and these stories coming. Until next time, stay